So yeah, so just like quick introduction. So this is Zoomterview. Really the goal of Zoomterview is to kind of um, give a space for people to kind of simulate talking through the creation process and things of that sort. Kind of in COVID. For me personally, I love talking through projects that I'm working on. That's a big aspect of just working on them, and then two also sharing them. So I really just wanted to create that space. Um, Kind of virtually. So that's what this is. But um, I already kind of, I'm not gonna ask you the questions of how you got into music because it's like it's abundantly clear. um, but the one thing I do want to talk about this recent album, but then too also just navigating creativity and things, of course, kind of now and then also to this past year.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so just to start, like I mean, we obviously went to the same high school and stuff of that sort. So like, I
Right.
remember like when like Cap Wolf was jumping off and that stuff of that sort. Um, I was still in high school when that was happening. So like, um, it's interesting to watch from like liquor store to now,
Mhm.
where a lot of you are kind of you're moving and making projects, but what I'm seeing is there's this theme of like growth. Like when I listen to this new project, it's a lot, it's like super reflective and just in terms of like what it's talking about, the world kind of surrounding you, and then too just kind of like the vantage point of where you are. So like kind of what all went into that, and just kind of the space that you're in.
Um, I feel like I feel like I experienced a lot of like isolation um, during the creating of the project. And some of it was self-inflicted, some of it was um, just not feeling like I could really like reach out to people about the stuff I was going through because it was just kind of like at the time I just didn't really feel like anybody could really um, at least anybody close to me could really relate to kind of what was going on. And so, part of what I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to reach out and I kind of wanted to put my story out there and kind of see, you know, who else can like really relate, who else kind of really understands. Um, and I tried to cover multiple things, not just make it center around one thing because I wanted to be able to address like different topics because I, I feel like I experienced a lot of different things. So I wanted to just be able to kind of put that out there as a way to kind of cast like a wide net in as far as being able to start conversations, like even if it's, not a one-on-one conversation with me, but maybe sparking that conversation amongst, your friend groups and something like that. Um, like I just kind of like that was really like the goal and the intention, like I would say like very early going into it.
Or yeah, no, because I definitely hear it because I think coming from like I said, coming from like even um some of your solo records prior, and then to just like some couple of stuff, like there's a clear tonal difference in terms of what's been talked about, and two just sounds. I think Cat Wolf kind of had like that more like I don't even know how to describe kind of ethereal, kind of spacey kind of
Yeah,
thing that was going on.
yeah.
Um, and I think here you step into there's a little bit of that, but you step more into like some singing and some more complex structures in terms of like songwriting stuff. So like what do you think has kind of all gone into you just growing as a songwriter?
I feel like part of it is just kind of opening myself up to other things out there, opening myself up to other sounds. And I feel like, a lot of it has to do with the way that I was brought up, the way that I grew up. My parents, they play like a lot of old school, like a lot of Motown, a lot of jazz, a lot of gospel, a lot of R&B, but I didn't really listen to a lot of hip hop until I was like in like the fifth grade, I think. And, I got like an iPod for Christmas, and that's when I really started to discover music like on my own. Um, oh my God, sorry. And so
No, you
basically,
good.
like pretty much off of that, I feel like that pretty much like gave me like I want to say like it made me want to try different things, and it made me realize how many different influences that I had. And so I think I just wanted to try to tap into all of those things. And even the experience with Cap Wolf, I feel like, when we were starting off in high school, I feel like our sound was completely different than when we really started to see things like take traction, like in 2015, 2016. Like that sound was different from that sound. So I was always used to being in a situation where the sound is constantly evolving, whether, it's me or whether it's the group, is constantly evolving. And, I don't think it's something that I necessarily try to do intentionally. I think it just kind of happens naturally. I think, like,
Right.
once you go, a certain amount of years of not releasing a big project, you take in a lot of life things, you take in a lot of other things, and that kind of changes the way that you see things, the way that you solve problems. And I feel like that kind of was reflected in this project in a way.
Word, word. So like what was some stuff you were like influenced by just listening to kind of while you were working on it?
Uh, Let me see. So I know, like, right off the bat, I was like I was really into I was really playing with like a lot of like EDM, a lot of like pop sounds, um,
Mm,
because I feel like I kind of have like this secret like love for like electronic music, but I have like that's not something that I would say I listen to every day. But I
yeah.
would say I would say in the time that I was working on the project, when I was working on it briefly in Chicago. I know that I had roommates they were into like a lot of types of like music, a lot of electronic music. Like they put me onto like alt J and like all like that type of music. And so it's kind of like from there, I kind of started to not so much make that type of music, but start to kind of find the things in that style of music that I like, and then incorporate it into stuff that I feel like I'm strong at, and then try to create a space where it all fits together. Um, and then two, I didn't want to stray too far away from what I know, what I do as like a rapper and like rapping. So of course, like that Kendrick, that Cole, that Ye
Yeah.
influence is like, I feel like that's always going to be there because that's pretty much like the foundation that I developed myself on as like an artist. And as time goes on and as things go on, I'm going to continue to grow and build on top of that. But that was there. Um, I would say definitely like the internet, like a lot of like alternative music. Like I feel like especially um like instrumental music, because I really got into instrumental music. That's why Countdown is on there, and it's
Word.
no, like I don't have any.
Word.
Yeah,
Okay.
like because I'm really a fan of albums that have like kind of like this feeling of intermission. And I know one artist that he's done it in the past, like on his older projects. I know Tyler the Creator, like he's done it to where
Mm,
he had, even if it's like the end of the song ending with like just like a 30-second instrumental or something like that. I always love having some type of instrumental because I feel like that it creates that variety in the sense of, sometimes you get tired of hearing somebody's voice throughout the whole time.
yeah.
If it's a longer piece of content like an album. So I wanted to be able to give people a break, not just from what I'm saying, but from the story itself. And just be like, let's take a minute, let's relax, let's digest what's happened so far, and then let's get into the second half.
Word. I feel that. I definitely feel that as a musician because it just sometimes, like you said, it just helps. Like I always joke about how songs don't be having fade outs as often anymore, and it's like, dang, like it's just boom, song, song, song.
Right, right.
So I feel that in terms of transition. So like what was it like leaving and because you kind of talked about Chicago, some influences there,
Mhm.
and just people around. Like what was that like leaving home for like an extended period and kind of like creating there?
It was crazy because so before I left, I was feeling very much stuck. Not so much stuck in like the scene, because at the time, like I believe that was like 2014, and like
Hmm.
I was just talking to Jody about this the other day, but like we were talking about kind of like that golden era of like like 2012 to like 2014, 2015, and I feel like at the time that I left, I was feeling very um, stuck as an artist, just as far as things around me that were inspiring me, things that I felt like I needed to experience in order to really create the way that I needed to. So um, I ended up making the move to Chicago for school, transferred from Lawrence Tech, um, and it was honestly probably one of the best decisions I made, just because it introduced me to a whole different like music scene. And with that,
Yeah.
they have like their like it's kind of like when you step into like a music scene, you hear everybody has like their different styles, but there's always that one little thing that you can't quite like put a name on it, that they all have in common,
Yeah.
that like separates like that scene from like this scene. Like people might say like, well, like the thing about like artists from Detroit, specifically like hip hop, might be like rapping off beat or rapping in a certain cadence. Like in Chicago, it's also a certain cadence, but it's also kind of like this little element of like jazziness to it. So,
Yeah.
everybody kind of has their own thing. And for me, that was new. And at the time, it was just a crazy time in general, because that was also the time where Chance was like really starting to elevate. So you see a lot of artists during that time, a lot of independent artists just really pushing like what they're doing and like really trying to like make something happen. And me, I really I really took that time to really sit back and study, not
Yeah.
just the music scene that I was in, but also the music business and where it was going. Um, and I felt like that's really helped play a part in what I'm doing now. Releasing my first real project. Um, and just from there, that kind of being like my starting point, or at least I want to call it my starting point, and then kind of going from there.
Word, that makes sense. Yeah. So how do you feel like just about the music business in general? I be having my thoughts. So I always like asking people. Because it's certainly changed from like that period to now. Like
Yeah,
how do you feel about it?
I feel like the music business is always very stubborn in terms of change. When it comes to new technology, or when it comes to new ideas or new things, if it's not making money right off the bat, or if they don't think it's going to make money right off the bat, they're very reluctant to change it. Like the things that we're seeing that they're doing with streaming services and everything now, I feel like that could have been done in 2015, 2014. But
Yeah.
I feel like for some reason it takes the record labels, it just like they're just stubborn. Like they just don't want to change. They want to be stuck in their ways because they want to be certain that they're going to make money. Um, I feel like now, the power, at least for the past year and a half, probably two, has been in the hands of the independent artists. And I feel like off that, you know, artists are starting to carry themselves more like an entity, outside of just being an artist. They have brands, they have, collectives, everybody is kind of creating this, like I said, entity for themselves, to where they're able
Yeah.
to navigate and move a lot smoother on their own. The only problem with that is the infrastructure that we have right now in the music business isn't necessarily favored to artists that are trying to be independent and get it on their own, because
Yeah.
all these major labels and companies, they still own a large percentage of the market. And so they can control things and they can shut stuff down, and they can make it a lot harder for people who want to start from scratch to try to get to where Chance is, or get to where these other artists are, because it's like they want us to run through their system and not build our own system. And so part of what I feel like is something that I'm trying to do is trying to create that system to where
Yeah.
it's something that it works for the future of what the music industry, because the future is going to be independent artists. Like the future is going to be, you know, artists, owning their masters, owning their publishing. Like that's what the future is. And so we need to be looking at how to create a system that supports that, because in a minute, like nobody's going to want to sign to these labels. Like the money is not the most important thing. Like music, if you look at music in itself, like if you look at a song, you look at an album, like its value is you can't put a value on it because it's infinite. Like
Yeah, literally.
especially with streaming now, it's like if you dropped the album in 1950 and it slapped, and like people in 2020 are still listening to it, like that goes on forever.
Yeah,
Like you can sell like a CD one time, maybe two times, but for somebody to come back and repeatedly listen, and then people are able to discover music from 50 years ago, and then get, it's just like it's the possibilities of being able to use it as a way to make a living are endless, and the labels know that. I feel like sometimes some artists, they get so caught up in the artistry that they don't see that what they're creating has such an infinite value that they are willing to give it away, or willing to give away a large portion of it. And so
yeah,
we kind of get caught in this trap to where it's like, if I really want to make it big, if I gotta, you know, if I really want to make it to that next, somebody got the phone. If I really want to make it to that next level, it's like somebody, like I have to give this part of me, because like music is a part of our soul and our heart, and I have to give away this part of me in order to get this. So um like I mean, it's shady. Like it's shady, but I feel like a
yeah.
lot of other industries are shady. Um, this is just the industry that gets publicized the most outside of the overall entertainment industry. Um,
Yeah, no facts.
but it's gonna take. I feel like it's gonna take more artists working together. It's gonna take more like independent labels that aren't signed to majors, to work together, independent publishers to work together to really create like a system and an infrastructure for the future.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like one of those things. I think I was talking about this with like some of my creative peers, and it's like you have this situation where, especially during COVID, like COVID
Yeah.
is this thing where like everybody's struggling, so everybody's trying to like
Mhm.
get by or like kind
Right.
of cut corners and stuff. So like even what you're saying, like yeah, no, it's like definitely I feel it because when we like break unpack blogs and everything and playlists, it's like it's all stuff that's part of an infrastructure that it has the appearance of being independent, but in many cases it's not. And there's allegiances or this person is an A&R for this, and so like I definitely feel it, especially since there's so many artists lately that have kind of done that battle. I mean, Taylor Swift did that battle, Lil Wayne did that battle. Ye, of course, publicly has been kind of in that space. So I think there's definitely proof in the pudding of like people kind of moving away from that, wanting to have a label, have that infrastructure, especially for people like the Beyonces or things like that that transcend a label. Um, yeah, no, I just always like asking that question because I mean that's kind of one of the big challenges that a lot of independent creators, especially in Detroit,
Mhm.
have just because of we're still seeing Detroit develop. Like you're starting to see more residencies and other stuff, but it's still super early. So yeah, I feel that. So like, how do you feel about just like kind of like the group in terms of like capital from like everybody? Because I see everyone's like for the most part working on stuff. Like, how you feel about
Yeah.
that and just like life and stuff?
I mean, it's exciting. I was just in the studio with Justin and Kane
Or
over the weekend. I mean, it's exciting. Like, you know, I feel like, everybody's older now, so everybody's kind of got their own life story to tell. And, everybody's kind of, they've had their own life experiences that have kind of helped them develop their own sounds. So I'm just really excited, um, to see, you know, what everybody ends up rolling out. I work with Kane and Justin the most, so I really get to see a lot of, the stuff that they're working on and stuff that they put out. And, I'm just really proud of everybody at the end of the day.
yeah,
I understand that groups in general are really hard to keep together. And it's really hard for everybody to even get along. And we've been able to
yeah,
do that, since it's crazy. We started the group in 2011, and it's almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year.
man.
Yeah. And you know,
Yeah.
like we're all still brothers at the end of the day. We all still support each other. So it's just really exciting to see that, you know, from this group of friends, from this collective, everybody's doing like really dope things.
No, I feel that because like there's always this thing, I guess, for people like, I mean, because the scene encompasses like so many people. I mean, you have the creators, but then you have like the people that perceive it. So like, I feel that because I mean, having been in Alt Nubian and Bleeding Hearts Club, two, you know, distinct collectives, there's kind of this. We joke about it sometimes. There's this like idea, like, oh, they disappeared. They're like, oh, dang, like they're not, they're not hot anymore. They're not doing this. Or they're not in the scene. It's like we all still making stuff. I
Right.
think sometimes kind of the perceptions that we kind of have to operate within a scene or within a thing. And so yeah, and I feel the value of that because I think like even as we've gotten older, some of us might have started like now I'm working a real serious job and I'm trying to make music as well. And that's kind of
Yeah.
the case for like um everyone. So no, I feel the value of that because I think a lot of people when it comes to goal setting, especially with music, they set like these like to set goals for creators like, oh, this person didn't go here, so they flopped or they didn't do this. Like, no, they just going on whatever track that they carved
Yeah.
out, you know.
Like
So
you gotta define what success means to you at the
yeah,
end of the day. And that's what's most important. You know,
literally.
everybody is not gonna, you know, do the same things that, you know, Drake is doing or Travis is doing. You know, everybody has their own thing at the end of the day. You know, I feel like what matters most is as long as what you're doing is making you happy and you feel satisfaction doing it, then that's all you can really bank on for real.
Yeah, totally. So like is the goal of like Radical Detroit like even the playlist and other stuff, is that kind of the build like that infrastructure you were talking about?
Yeah, like, and I was talking about this yesterday with one of my friends. It's like I feel like though if I'm I think a lot about that 2012, 2015 era a lot because of how involved and connected everybody was, um, you know, with each other's music, with each other's movement. You
Yeah.
know, it just kind of seemed like even though there was different collectives, everybody was still in sync and everybody was still in tune. You know, it feels like kind of now everybody's kind of in their separate corners. You know, somebody makes some noise over here, it's like, oh, okay, we kind of look over there. Somebody makes some noise over here, oh, okay. But everybody's kind of owning their, kind of in their own bubble. You know, part of the having the Radical Detroit brand and the playlist and, you know, the site is just being able to bring all that together. So we are able to like be in the loop with each other and be able to support each other and kind of bring back that interconnectivity of like our music scene. Like, you know, I know like
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, it's gotten more about getting out of the city, more about, you know, finding opportunities out of the city. And, you know, we're starting to get more opportunities in the city. It's still not as much as I would say like a New York or like a LA or like an Atlanta. It's not
Yeah.
there yet, but they're coming. But even still, it's kind of like everybody's just kind of focused on going here, going over here, and that's fine. At the end of the day, I find a lot of pride and I find a lot of fulfillment in being able to showcase the creative community that built me and built, you know, what I'm doing, kind of shaped me for what I
Yeah.
am now, you know?
Yeah, like I because that's the biggest part of like cities kind of popping off in that way. I think there's like this misconception that like Atlanta just blew up and it's just like out of nowhere. It's like, no, this is years of work.
Yeah,
And there were things in place. Like, I mean, me, I'm super big into like punk music and stuff. So like to give the example of like the early punk music of like, you know, England and even like in Michigan, there was more than just bands. It was fashion people, it was blogs, it was radio hosts, DJs, um it's like there's all of those things that go into that. So I feel that on the connection thing because I think so many people they get so rooted in, oh, I need to leave here in order for me to expand, that they don't know if you build something big and it was there and if you value what was there, people would see it. Like, I mean, people are starting to see, I mean, Detroit's influence musically now and they're like, well, why are all these rappers like rapping this way and doing this like kind of cadence and et cetera, et cetera. But like it's because it takes time and it also takes people valuing kind of what you do, what
Yeah.
others do. So yeah, no, I feel that. I always question though, it's like the death of that. I mean, that period, I was mainly a bystander. I don't think I kind of had my scene experience until like 2016, 20 to 2018. But like, do you feel like maybe the like kind of death of SoundCloud or kind of things like that kind of played a role in that?
It's funny that you say that because I didn't even think about it like that. But I feel like that probably did have a role to play because during that time, SoundCloud was really like the main place that people were dropping music. It was like
Yeah,
because everybody was trying to figure out how to get on iTunes, how to get on Spotify. Like I don't even think Spotify was really a thing. Like it kind of was, but it wasn't like what it is now. But the idea of getting on iTunes, like that alone, at that point seemed like it was very unattainable, or if it was only, you know, accessible for, the major artists, the big artists. And like if you got your song
yeah,
on iTunes, it was like a big deal. Like I remember when we dropped Liquor Store Pizza Party, that was the first time I was ever on any streaming platform ever. And I was just like that was just like crazy to me. Like I was just like, wow, like I'm seeing like my name like on Spotify, like on like
yeah,
Apple Music. It's like this is crazy. But back then SoundCloud was all we had. And I feel like because that was all we had, it kind of kept everything in one space. It kept everything in one place to where, you know,
yeah.
if you're in tune and you're keeping up and you're following people, you see like when they drop, you see what they're putting out, and you listen because you're on there all the time, anyways.
Yeah, no, I feel it. Like I always feel like that was kind of like I feel like there always has to be some kind of free infrastructure, some free thing that people can use. Cause
Yeah,
like even beyond that, like SoundCloud, I mean, you had the tag system, you had like people who would do mixes and throw people's songs. It was literally like DJs and kind of like early hip hop and stuff like that. And yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things that it was big for the community aspect, but it was also big for like new sounds. Cause now like for me, even like trying to kind of run an independent blog, just kind of freelance.
hmm
Sometimes I see music all the time that people release, so that makes it a lot easier. But it's super hard for you to find stuff like really low key stuff unless you talk to someone in that scene or you go to that space and you see kind of what they vibing with and stuff. But yeah, like partially, that's because you got to get into playlists and you got to do this and stuff. But SoundCloud was kind of that thing where like you could just find
yeah,
stuff, just kind of being like, I mean, even me, I remember like high school, man, I used to be on SoundCloud for hours, just
yeah.
like finding stuff. See, I don't know. I always ask that because like, yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel like that was like a big piece of kind of the community and stuff.
No, definitely. And like you could see what other people listening to, like they repost it. Like it's almost like Twitter where
Yeah,
you get hip to stuff because somebody retweeted it. It's like the same thing with music on SoundCloud.
yeah, word. Well, I mean, that was pretty much all the questions I had. But is there anything you want to talk about or anything you want to know? Stuff you want to share, like updates, what's
Um,
coming, anything of that sort?
as far as updates, so just dropped the Under the Influence video yesterday. Shout out to Joe McGrath for doing the animation. Did a great job on that. Stuff coming up. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I've
Yeah,
been working with Jody Watts, um, more so on like the engineer and producer tip.
word.
And so he's working on something that should be coming out in the next couple of months, hopefully. So definitely watch out for him. Um, you know, um, I think not yesterday, Saturday was the 1 year anniversary of Kane Station, which was also the first EP that we released off of the Swarm label.
Yeah,
So um, that was just really cool just to kind of look back at that time and see what we did with that. Um, and always working on new merch, new clothes, new stuff for the Radical brand. Um, Actually just opened up submissions for playlist 6. So
Word.
and we got a little power move working on the curation on that one. So that should be coming out soon. So, any artist that want to submit, want to put his hip to stuff, definitely shoot us that music. Um, Other than that, man, I'm just working on different stuff. Like I'm really just having fun with music. And on all different sides, production, writing, recording, business, like all that stuff. So I'm definitely looking to um, really come out with a lot of stuff next year. So I'm really excited for that. And I'm
Word.
excited for the
Word.
new Drake album coming out. It's about to be crazy.
No facts. That bring you brought up two more questions for me. I honestly forgot to ask. Like, so like what one I want to ask what went into the under the influence video, just wanting to animate that first of all, because it's crazy and
Right.
trippy. And then two, just like talk about Swarm, like who all is on Swarm,
Got you.
and kind of that process.
Got you. So with Under the Influence, so I'm gonna just take it back to like February. So February was when I basically finished like the whole project. The project was done and everything. And I was like, okay, now it's time to work on my visuals. So I'm sitting down with my visual team and we're talking about, we want to do this and we want to do that. And then March coming, it's like boom, COVID. I'm like, dang, okay. So we inside. A lot of our plans for filming kind of got washed because especially at that time, like people didn't really know like what was going on with COVID and like what it was and like
Mhm.
how dead like people didn't know anything compared to what we kind of know now. So pretty much like those plans kind of got dissolved. And so I was sitting there and I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna put this project out because it just doesn't seem like the right time. But I feel like I kind of just stuck with it and I kind of was just paying attention. I was reading the room, like just kind of what was going on. And I felt like at the time it was appropriate. So boom, project comes out and, the visuals that we did have for it, it was just stuff that we did at the house because that's all we could do. But I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, like I really want to try to figure out how we can have a visual but still kind of be considerate of all this COVID stuff. Like what's going on with that? So I get a message from Joe and he basically hits me up and he's like, yo, like I'm this animator from Chicago. Like I'm trying to, work with other artists and I'm trying to do animations. If you're interested, like, here's my work. And I checked them out and immediately when I saw his work, I was like, this is perfect for Under the Influence, like
Word.
animated video, like about just like getting high and just like having sex and like all this other stuff. I'm like, this is perfect. Like this is gonna fit. So it was pretty much a done deal after that. Like it wasn't
Word.
like and we like when we talked on the phone, we were on the same page pretty much the whole way. We were like, this is what it is, this is what we're trying to do. And then from there, we got what we got. But it's crazy because I never would have thought that I would have an animated music video.
Yeah, no.
Like
When I saw it, I was shocked because nobody does that here. Like for the most part, man.
I was I was just
Yeah,
I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like this is wild. And then like just the whole process of me, because I had to send him like headshots and everything, and me sending him stuff and him sending it back.
yeah,
It's just crazy that that's even a thing. Um, so yeah, like that process was really smooth and easy. So as
word,
far as like the label Swarm, so Swarm is basically like what I was saying before about trying to create that system that is conducive for the future of the music industry. Like at the end of the day, that's the goal that I'm trying to achieve with that. So the artists that I have on here is myself, um, Nova Kane, aka Kid Rex, Jody Watts, and then weekdays as our DJ and Groovy
word,
Armani producing as well. And so pretty much starting off with just like a small team of creatives that we all have the same goal. We all want to end up doing things differently. And at the end of the day, it's about being able to create and maintain our freedom as artists. Um, and so I wanted to create an entity that would allow us to be able to do that, um, and be able to navigate wherever the new music business is going.
Word.
And so, that's just kind of one of those things where I felt like it was a necessity, and I felt like it was needed, not just for me, but for people around me that I felt like had the same drive and passion.
Word. Word. All right. So just two bonus questions. These are fun questions.
Bet,
And I'm going to get out of here.
bet.
The first one is, um, what are you listening to right now? What's in your playlist right now? And then two, what are you watching right now? I just like asking people that.
All right, what am I watching? So what I'm listening to right now, I'm kind of going back to some old stuff. I was really listening to um, Lucky Days Project Painted. Like
Word.
I go back to that project a lot of times, but I feel like on days like today, especially, it's just like a beautiful album. Like the instrumentation is
Yeah.
just like amazing. I got a chance to see him live like twice, and it's just like that. Like on like days like this, like that. That's the album that I go to and I listen to just for everything, like the mixing, the instruments, the songwriting, like everything. Um,
Word.
and I'm trying to think who else have I been listening to. Like I've been listening to like a lot of local artists because I'm like going through like the playlist submissions. So like
Yeah.
I've been getting hip to like a lot of people. Some people like I've been listening to for a minute, like Hotel Room. Like he dropped a EP. I'm
Yeah.
like to his EP. Um, I know like the Cowboy Homies, they put me onto Lex and Ready, so I've been listening to her.
Word.
Um, Trying to think who else. Oh man, it was this one. I can't remember their name right now. I can't remember their name right now. Um, but as far as when I'm watching, I mean all the cold black shows came out on Netflix. So literally, I just been
Facts.
like literally like just one on one. Sister, Moesha. Um, what else? What else is out? The Parkers.
Yeah, I was binging Girlfriends like a month ago, so I feel
Girlfriend,
it, man.
girlfriend. I just watched Bad Hair, like that movie on Hulu.
Oh, on Hulu, yeah.
Yeah, did you see that?
No, the trailer looks so silly. Is it
Oh my
good?
goodness, that movie is like ridiculous. Like that movie is ridiculous. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think what else I was watching. So okay, so it was one night, and I have to tell this because I don't know why I was so amazed by this, but I feel like there's like a lesson in this, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But basically, it's just a documentary on Netflix about this dude who goes into the ocean and he visits like this octopus for like 100 days or something, and basically
Man.
like his goal is basically to like just like document like the octopus in his element, but like the first 30 days is just spent on building like the trust with like the octopus. Like he
Hmm.
literally goes and he finds it and he just sits there and he just waits and like until it gets comfortable. Like on the 30th day, it finally like comes out of like his little cave and starts like interacting with him. And then like on like the 50th day, he like does something stupid and like drops the camera and it like startles the octopus and like the octopus like disappears and like he's like, oh my god, like I've lost them, like I don't know. And then he's like, so then what I had to do was I had to figure out how to look for octopus like tracings like underwater. And I'm just like, how like that seems like that would take like months like to learn how to
Yeah,
do.
no, literally.
And he was like, yeah, like I did it in like a week. And then like I found her and then like I was just like, but it was just like I don't know why it was so amazing, but I felt like it was just like one of those things where I feel like it kind of speaks to like our ability to interact with things like outside of just like ourselves.
Yeah.
Like when we really kind of take time to look around us and see like everything that's around us, like we can really there's always a way that we can interact with something to where we can gain something from it, but also like they can gain something from us. And it's like we kind of have like this infinite connection to everything that's a part of our world, part of our universe. So like that was just like it was just one. It was just like one of those nights where like you feel like you've seen everything on Netflix, and you just like, oh, let me go ahead and see what this is. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching for the most part.
Word,
You know.
word, I'm dead. I gotta tap in with the octopus show for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
Word. But thank you for joining me on Zoomterview, chopping it up and everything of that sort. This will likely come out within the next 48 hours or so on our YouTube and everything of that sort. But yeah, just thanks for stopping by and chopping it up.
No, I appreciate you for having me. Definitely appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for supporting the video. And
Word.
we definitely got to exchange contact after this so we can just keep in touch. And keep you in the loop with some stuff. I got some stuff I can't
Facts.
talk about on here, so definitely. But no,
Word, for sure.
All right, bro. Peace.
Word. Just shoot me like your number and stuff, and all right, dog. Peace.
All right, peace.